welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a blisteringly hot day here in the UK, and apparently it's only going to get hotter, which is really quite worrying. But we have a very, very interesting puzzle to look at. It's called Vault Construction, and it's by the Cogito. And it's been only solved about 15 times ever on Logic Masters Germany. It has a 100% rating, and we've had 3 people write to us and say that this is really something quite extraordinary. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. I have read the rules, and they sound interesting, but mad to me. It's a very, very unusual rule set. And I'll get to that in just a moment. I do have some announcements today first, including some birthdays today. Firstly, to the triplets, Heather, Holly and Hope. And I have to read your names in that order, apparently. I guess, is that your, I don't know, that might be in age order, who came out first. But Heather, Holly and Hope, happy birthday. I hope you have lots of cake, obviously. Maddie, you've just turned 18 today, I think, and your boyfriend Drew let us know that news. Then Matteo, oh yeah, your girlfriend Bella wrote to us, and I think it was your birthday a few days ago, but this wasn't my fault that I didn't read out your birthday at the time. It's actually Bella's fault. So, but she thought she did write an absolutely lovely email full of, it was basically a eulogy to you, Matteo. So I think you've got a good girl there, let me tell you that, and I hope you have a brilliant day too. And also to Willie. You've turned 22 today, and your friend Magdalena let us know that. So I hope that I hope everyone I've just read out is able to have lots of cake, and it's not too hot and the icing doesn't melt. Nobody likes that. Now, next, loads more of you have managed to solve Joseph Neymer's Sudoku hunt, which is available to all of our patrons right now. You've still got 4 days left to complete the competition. If you start now, you should get through it in time, I think. It's 13 puzzles in all, themed around equal sum lines, and the following managed to solve it correctly overnight. So we've got Brandon Crow, Stanley Gorlick, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brad Eberly, Andrew Boardman, Len Sorensen, Stephen Chrysomalis, Ben Hawker, Bogdan 1R, Spencer Copera, and Blake Barner. All of you, very well done. Brilliant solving. A reminder, we've got more bonuses coming on Patreon in just a few days' time. We're going to be releasing the Mod Lines pack, which is the brainchild of missing a few cards and full deck, two quite famous maths professors. So look out for that one. And then, of course, just a reminder that Domino Sudoku, our brand new app, is out on App Store. It's out on Android. So check that out too. We're very proud of it, and the reviews that the app's been getting have been marvellous. So if you've written one of those reviews for us, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Now, let's get on with Vault Construction, and I will read you the rules of the Cogito's latest masterpiece. They are as follows. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column and region. Regions need to be discovered and consist of 9 orthogonally connected cells. So this is a so-called chaos construction puzzle. Normally, obviously, in Sudoku, we get given 3 by 3 boxes throughout the grid. Here, we might not even have 3 by 3 boxes. We know regions are sort of 9 orthogonally connected cells. So something like that might be a region in this puzzle. We shall have to discover them. Pink cages are vaults. Digits may repeat within a vault. Any digit within a vault may not appear in any cells orthogonally adjacent to that vault. So that means that whatever you put in this vault here, let's say we put a 5 in it. Now you couldn't put 5 in any of those cells. I suppose the corollary of that is that because there's a 9 touching this vault, we can say there is no 9 in this vault. That must be how the rule works as well. But there's one more rule which says that the largest digit in any given vault is equal to the number of distinct regions passing through that vault, which is a crazy rule. So that means if there was a 5 in here, well, if 5 was the biggest number that appeared in that vault. I was about to say that's impossible, but it might be possible. Let's say 5 was the biggest number that appeared in this vault. Then this vault would have to have 5 distinct regions touching it, or passing through it, which I guess you could do that in a few different ways. So that's the rule set. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I have a feeling this might be a long video. It's got 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty. I can't remember if I told you that, but it has. So, do we start with this big vault or do we start with little vaults? Vaults, any digits may repeat within vaults. Any digit within a vault may not appear in any cells orthogonally adjacent to the vault. So knowing there's no 9, and no 3 actually, in the big vault, is that doing something for us? So 3 is a bit restricted in row 7. It's got to be in one of those 4 cells. 6 is touching this vault. The largest digit in any given vault is equal to the number... Oh, okay, I can write some 1s into the grid, can't I? The largest digit in any given vault is equal to the number of distinct regions passing through that vault. Yes, so I can't put 0 in there. That won't work. Well, to put it another way, this cell must be part of a region, and therefore I've got to write a 1 in it, because this 1 has to represent the fact that this vault has one region in it. So that must be a 1. Oh, right, yes, so the small vaults is the place to start here. So this... that's interesting, actually. This vault here can have a maximum of 2 regions passing through it. If this was in a region and this was in a different region, then it would have 2 regions as a maximum passing through it. So it must be made up of the digits 1 and 2, but it can't be made up of a repeated digit, so it is made up of 2 regions, which means that we can regionify it like that, which means that whatever goes in this cell has to extend up here, and whatever goes in this cell we don't know about. But that's definitely got a 1 and a 2 in it. And that, and that means that if this has got a 1 and a 2 in it, you can't put 1 or 2 in either of those cells because of the rule about digits within a vault may not appear in any cells orthogonally adjacent to that vault. I'm not prepared to pencil mark that. I think Mark would pencil mark that. It's got it's got 5 options. 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. I think that's the threshold at which we shouldn't pencil mark, isn't it? 4 cells with 4 things we might pencil mark, but cells with 5 seems a bit over the top. I think I'm just going to carry on doing the small vaults. This could have a maximum of 3 regions, couldn't it? It's a 3-cell vault, so it's got to be made up of 1s, 2s and 3s. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, but I've got to be careful here. I was about to write 3 into this cell, but that's not quite right, is it? It could be a 3, and if it is a 3, then this is 3 different regions. But it doesn't have to be. Imagine that was a 1, and that was a 1, and that was a 2. Now this vault has to just be divided into 2 regions, which is a quite different thing. I have a feeling I'm meant to know whether this is a 3 or not, but I don't think I do. Right, let's carry on with this one then. So this has got to be a 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s, and in fact there is a 1 looking at this one. So that... okay, well that's very interesting, because this is a 2, 3, 4 triple in this vault. Therefore, there is definitely a 4 in this vault. Therefore, this little tetromino, this T tetromino, has to be divided into 4 different regions, which is going to be very interesting. So that means everything here has to be divided. So this is becoming a region. That doesn't actually do... It's weird as well. Again, I want to write a 1 in here, but I don't think I can. Because it's perfectly possible for digits to repeat within a volt. Ah, right, what's that cell? That's a 5. And that's a 5 because this is a 5-cell volt, so it cannot have more than 5 regions in it. And yet this cell by Sudoku cannot be anything other than 5 because it sees a 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is very important as well because that means that this region, or this volt, has 5 different regions in it because it does have a 5 in it. Let me just fill in all the options here. These can't be 5s, this can't be 3. That can't be 1 or 2, look, it sees a 1 or a 2 in the row. Now, these volts join to each other, and we know there's a 2, 3 or a 4 in this one. Oh no, so that doesn't... Well, it obviously has already affected the value of this cell. I was just trying to see if there's some other way we can link these two together. Well, the other thing we can do here is we need to divide this volt into different regions, don't we? So we've got loads of stuff going on now. Right, okay. So now we might go to colouring, I think. Because I can see things. I'm beginning to see things. For example, I'm seeing this 5 has to go into this volt here. And that's because in fact we might want to colour. We might want to colour. But what colours should we use to do our colouring? We'll make that one blue. We'll make that one grey. We'll make that one green. We'll make this one, these are the big decisions, purple. Now that one I think is going to be the same as this one because this has got to reach 9 cells in total. Now it can take 4 cells in the bottom corner and itself obviously, but it can never touch any of these because remember this volt has got 5 different regions in it. So if we were to say that this was purple, that would be saying these 2 cells are in the same region, which is against the rules. So this 5 to get out is going to have to take this cell, I think. And in fact we can do better than that. Oh no, we can't. Oh yes we can. Yeah, we can propagate this because now we can also say that now this has become purple. It's not the same as green. So there's no way of turning left here and going up. We're going to have to turn right to get out. So that's taking this one to a minimum of 7 cells. The grey has to come out. Ah, yeah, and this is green. And the reason this is green is, again, this could pick up the 4 cells in the bottom left-hand corner and itself. It can't come into these because these are in different regions to this. So it's got to come up here, I think. In fact, it's got to go quite a long way up here. It's got to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Minimum. Oh no, could it be blue? No, it can't be blue because green and blue are different. Oh, I like this so far. This is very interesting indeed. And I'm actually quite surprised because it wasn't that brutal to start, was it? Now this cell, which we shall make orange maybe, has got to come out here, which is pushing purple out again. So purple's got to come here. This has got to be another colour again. Make this red. And red's got to come out. Again, it can only pick up 4 cells in the bottom corner, which pushes orange out again. Now this cell is part of, this is part of a different region to green, because these two cells have to be in different regions. So this gets a new colour. That's got to come out. It's got to come out again, because it can pick up a maximum of 4 here, which pushes red out again, which pushes red out again, and red's clashed with this volt now. In fact, yellow's clashing with this volt now, because it can only pick up 4, 8. So that must come to this square at least. Let me just think about this now. So now I've got... Well, I've actually got quite a lot of regions identified. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, there's nothing necessarily saying that grey couldn't join to purple, not to purple, to orange. Well, it would have to do it by that route. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's too many. Right, let's look at this. Purple has to take at least one more cell. It could be this one, it could be this one, but whichever one it is, it's pushing grey out to get round. And if grey then joins up with orange, it becomes a 10-cell region. So grey and orange are not the same. And, well, the corollary of that, obviously, is that grey and red are not the same. Grey and yellow are not the same. So grey is genuinely a different colour to all of these colours. Now, by the same token, you can't connect blue and purple, because grey needs to reach 9 cells and sit in the middle of them. So I think blue is a genuine other region as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 7 of the 9 regions started now, which is tremendous. Now, what can we do with this? We know that this could be 3 regions, it must be at least 2 regions. So I can't just subsume this volt in one region. In fact, we know purple is hitting this, don't we? Because one of these is purple at least. Okay, I'm not sure what that's meant to mean. Okay, here's a silly thing. 9 in orange. Where's that going? And the reason I asked that question is that 9 can't go in the big vault. We said that earlier. So 9 in this row is not in the vault, so it must be in orange. Now 3, no, 3's got one of 3 positions in row 7. Okay, so how do we do this now? Look, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in row 5. Now that's interesting for this big vault. And the reason I think that's interesting is that the minimum value for these 2 squares is now 5 and 6, which means that this big vault has to have at least a 6 in it, which means it has to have at least 6 regions in it, which is quite a lot, especially given that... So there's a considerable overlap between the regions that we've coloured in already. There are 7 regions we've coloured in, and there are 6 regions that occupy, well, no, at least 6 regions that occupy the big vault. So obviously quite a few of the 7 regions are going to have to come into this. Which well, okay, that's true, but that green one can't get. That green one definitely can't get in this vault. There is no way So it doesn't look that easy for this blue one to get in. I mean, the blue one can get in, but not easily. If the blue one gets in, how on earth do you make these other regions reach their size? That does not look easy to me. I mean, the closer you come down here to get this blue one into the big vault, if we try and get this blue one in like that, for example, there's no way. You haven't got enough cells now to fill grey, so that's just total nonsense. If you come across like this, then grey, let me just play around with this for a second. Grey can come down here. Purple can pick up some of these cells, so it's under less pressure. But purple would have to take this cell. It just feels like everything's getting very cramped in the bottom of the grid. I'm not sure I can necessarily disprove it though. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 say. No, maybe I can't disprove that. Okay. Alright, let's think about this slightly differently then. Yes, here is another way to think about this. Okay, green is not in this region. Now, we already sort of knew that we didn't know it specifically about green, but we knew there weren't 9 regions visiting this big vault because of the 9 sitting outside it. So now we know that the number of regions visiting this vault is 6, 7 or 8. Now if it's 8, then we know that blue has to visit it. And that's not going to work, not because we can't get blue into it, we absolutely can. But if we're claiming that blue not only visits this vault, but there are 8 other regions that visit this vault, how on earth do you fill the top of the grid? There's no way you can do it. Because if I connect blue to this vault in such a way that doesn't automatically just cut off grey, purple and the rest of it, I've got to come in around here, I think. Let's just double check that. If I come in earlier than that, grey is horribly difficult now. And then I'm going to cut off orange. It's just nonsense. There is no way. There is no way that works. So let's come into there. Yeah, okay. So now I'm saying this is, I'm just hypothesizing this is in some way possible for these shapes at the bottom. I'm not convinced it is, but let's just say it is going to work. So I now know that 8 regions, I'm going to allege, somehow touch this vault. Well, what's filling all of these cells then at the top of the grid? There are 26 of those cells. I could fill one of them with a blue cell. I could fill 4 of them with green, and I could fill some actually with some region that escaped from the vault on the right hand side and went up into the top. But what I cannot do is fill 26 of them, because there's no way of doing that. We're going to need a lot more regions in this top part of the grid, and we just can't get those regions up here because the blue region can't come in here to allow regions that touch this vault on the right hand side of it to reach up into the top of the grid. It's weird, actually. It's really clever. It's really, really interesting, isn't it? So this means, well, this is really interesting. So now we can say that the number of regions touching this is not 8. Oh, good grief. Well, it's 7 then. Oh, this is weird. This is so strange. Right. Yeah, I think this is right. So if you can't touch this vault with 8 regions, and I don't think you can for the reasons we've just explained. You can't get this blue into here, and you'd need to, and simultaneously fill the top of the grid with regions. It won't work. So there is no 8 in this region, because if there was an 8 in the region, it would be saying that there need to be 8 regions touching the vault. If there's no 8 in this region, where does 8 go in row 7? Well, it goes there with the 9s. But now, look at row 7. Where am I putting 7 in it? And the answer is in the vault. So there is now a 7 in the vault, which means, and I'm now worried I've made a mistake because it's not entirely clear to me. Okay, no. So if I don't have to get blue into here, that does give me a bit more latitude, doesn't it? Because if I don't have to get blue in, I'm not cutting off the top of the grid. And in fact, blue is perfectly free to come up here. So we could have loads of cells in green up here. We could have loads of cells in blue up here. And then the challenge is just to get enough regions emanating from the vault to fill in the rest of the gap at the top of the grid. And that doesn't strike me as necessarily impossible. So now we know, though, well, actually, I'm going to go further than that. There's not only 7 in the vault, there is 6 in the vault, because none of these is 6. So we are putting 6s and 7s in the vault. And the reason that might matter is now I can't put 6 and 7 in any of the touching squares. Or maybe it's not that important, actually. So right. Okay, this is getting even more peculiar now. Where does 3 go in row 7? And the answer is obviously not in the vault, because there is a 3 touching the vault. So you can't put 3 in here, or these 3s would be illegal. So there's a 3 in one of those 2 cells. But there's also, where does this digit go in this row? And the reason I ask about this specific digit is this specific digit, which is a 1 or a 2, cannot appear in the vault anywhere, because this cell is orthogonally adjacent to the vault. So if this digit cannot go in there, and it can't, where does it go in this row? And the answer is in one of those 2 cells. Now that means these 2 cells are a combination of this digit and a 3, so they are not a 4. And that means that there's now a 4 in the vault. So what we're actually doing here, which is really cool, is we are building up a picture of the digits that live in the big vault. And simultaneously we are ruling out cells around the vault. Yeah, in fact, what are those digits then? These digits here cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6 or 7, because we know there's a 6 and 7 in the volt. So those digits have to be from 5, 8 and 9, I think. Which is nearly interesting, but not quite. The other two places that might be interesting are these two places, because of this 1-2 pair. I'm just going to get rid of that line, actually. That's catching my eye in an unpleasant way. But these two digits cannot be 1s and 2s because they touch this volt. So they have to be, well, what do they have to be then? So they have to not be 1 and 2. They could be 3. They can't be 4. They could be 5. They can't be 6 or 7. They could be 8 and they could be 9. That one can't be 9. Or 3. Actually, that can't be 3. So this one is 5 or 8. This one, I think, has more options. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm not sure if this is how you're meant to do this puzzle, but I'm enjoying it doing this way. I'm now going to ask where 5 goes. Yeah, this is fine. Where does 5 go in row 6? And the answer is not in perp. It's not repeating in its own region, so it's not going in there. It can't go here, because if that's a 5, that's orthogonally next to that volt, which has got a 5 in it, so that's not allowed. So the 5 is in one of those cells, which means this cell is an 8. Because once there's a 5 in the volt, you can't have 5 orthogonally next to the volt anymore. So this is an 8. So we've got 8, 9, 8, 9. Oh, I don't know if that's doing anything, actually. Sorry, yeah, I'm not spotting what this is doing. It must be doing something. But I don't know what that is. Okay. So how do we make more progress? I've had half an hour. This video is half an hour long already. I love these puzzles. I just get lost in them. I just get totally lost in them. That's not a 3. Literally the time just slips by. This column now has 6, 7s, 8s and 9s into those cells. That one is not 8 or 9, so that's 6 or 7 because of this. Don't think we've got anything else looking at this quadruple though. So how do we make more progress here? Well, I know there are 7 different regions touching this volt. At the moment, I've managed to get 2 in. So I've got to get 5 more. That's not very easy. Ugh. I've got to get 5 more regions to touch. So that feels very awkward indeed to me, I have to tell you. How do we make that a reality? I think that there's possibly... Okay. One thing I'm wondering about here is these cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are effectively 7 exits from this vault to the rest of the grid. And those exits are sort of on the north and the west sides. So what I'm just wondering is how, if it's not the case that those 7 cells there, let's just make those black for a moment. If these 7 cells are not different regions, allowing this vault to send its regions out into the rest of the grid, then at least one of these pairs are in the same region, and therefore these black cells are only dealing with at most 6 regions, and yet we know that there are 7 regions altogether that visit this vault, and the 7th region is going to be locked in the corner. I've done this. I've done it. This is the first time in a while I'm cracking the cryptic. I think I've come up with something really, really interesting. Okay. Now, where is the let's imagine this was the case. So what I want us to imagine that these black cells are not 7 different colours. Okay? So if they're not 7 different colours, then the maximum number of regions that these black cells can be is 6 different regions. Now, if these are 6 different regions, that means I need to put a 7th region into these cells here. Not the yellow one, because the yellow one is definitely already counted in one of the black cells. So these cells here would have to, there would have to be a 9-cell region. Well, one thing I can tell you about that region is it's not got a 3 in it. None of those cells can be a 3. These are not 3, and you can't put 3 in the vault. So that region that we're trying to put in the bottom right of the grid couldn't exist. And if that region can't exist, it's not possible that these black cells are only 6 different regions. I think that logic's right. Let's just, it feels right to me. Let me just try it a different way. So let's say this is these 2 cells are in the same region and all 3 of these are different. So let's just have a go with orange, make that purple, make that one dark grey. So let's imagine we did this, and this is some other colour that we haven't done yet. So now how many regions have we got visiting the vault? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not enough. I need to put another region into it. Now there's no other way to get another region in from coming outside. It would have to go through one of the existing 6 regions. So that's not going to work. We need a discrete 7th region. So the 7th region has to live in exactly those 10 cells, and it can't have a 3 in it, so it can't be a region, so this doesn't work. And if this doesn't work, then now we get something really cool, which is that every potential sort of exit from the vault has to be a different region, and that means you can do this. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not sure whether, I don't think that's a valid boom. No, we won't boom that, but we've boomed a lot of things there. And now Well, now it looks like I can extend red. Maybe that's what I meant to do next. By the way, the cogito, if this is the way, I'm actually questioning whether this is the way you're meant to do this puzzle, because this seems a bit nuts to me. But if this is the way, I love it, because it's so weird and sort of geometrically interesting. Now, this square's got to be red, because I could put 4 reds there. That's 4 reds, so that's at least I must get to here. So now, oh, yellow's already, no, okay, yellow could be replete at this point. It could already have its 9 cells. So this is where it's going to get tricky, actually. I sort of think that this orange has to come here, but I'm not totally sure that's true. If orange turned up and didn't go into this square, no, that's not going to work. And the reason that's not going to work is if this cell is not orange, it needs to be a new colour. So it's not red, it's not yellow. So let's just make it, I don't know, let's make it green. So this would be green. Now we know that we've got one colour here on this entrance and exit. So this cannot be green, this cannot be green, this cannot be green, and this cannot be green. These need to be different regions. So that means, bing, 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 how do we get the same problem? I can't put 3 in this region. It's made up entirely of volt cells and this stuff in the bottom. So this doesn't work. So that means this cell is orange. It means that, right, so that means that cell is not orange. So is that cell purple then? Probably is the answer to that. Probably. Well, we know blue can't get in here. So purple and grey have to get in here. That's something we know for sure. So maybe a better question is, where does grey? Yeah, okay, where does grey come into the vault? We know it goes into the vault somewhere. Where does it do that? Now it can't ever get to this square. Well, maybe it can actually, but it doesn't. That's not going to be what grey does. 7, no, in fact it can't get to this square. Now if grey got to that square, we're going to have massive problems again. It just doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't work. I can connect these up. But now this would have to be purple. This has to be some new colour that is not orange, because orange has already entered the vault here. And we know each of these colours is different. So this region here would have to drop down there and cut orange off, and it could never be big enough. So this is nonsense. So grey does not come into either of these. So grey comes into one of these. Now, I bet you grey doesn't go in there. If grey goes in here, I just don't think there's going to be enough room for either purple or orange, but can I prove it with any sort of aplomb? So let's just join this up and have a stare and see if we can see a quick reason why this fails. Because if this does fail, then it's got to go in there, and that will be very important. Because if that goes in there, I think the only colour that could get to this would be purple. So all I've got to do is disprove this. Now, unfortunately, this could work. Purple could take this square. No, it doesn't work again. You get a problem here. Oh, although, hang on, no, I might be wrong about this. So let's ignore that square and say that's not grey. So there could be a region that comes out here like this, which allows orange to extend. So orange can carry on going. Purple is now full. But you can see it's not working. There's not enough room for red in the bottom. Oh, especially as these have to be different. Yes, the only way this works is if purple takes everything in the bottom. Well, I suppose no, actually we have to be a bit rigorous about this, because it's possible, I suppose, that grey comes up like this. Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if grey did this, let's make it, I know that's breaking this vault, but I'm just trying to get a feel for how this works. Then that's going to, well, no, actually, the moment purple extends down to here, red, which is only 5 cells, has to start taking quite a lot of the stuff over on this side of the grid. Okay, but it could do that and come up the side, I suppose. Okay, I'm strongly suspicious that this doesn't work, but I'm not immediately able to prove it. I bet there's an easy way of doing it. So probably something to do with this. This might be what this cage is doing here. It's stopping this grey coming into this cell. Okay, right. But, okay, what we should do instead then... I know what we do instead. Let's go back to basics. What's that digit? That digit's a 3. Because where does orange get its 3 from? And the answer to that is there. It's there. Because if it wasn't there, where else is it getting its 3? Orange cannot touch any of these cells, because these cells are all different colours from orange in order to allow this vault to work. So orange can't get its 3 from inside the vault. We know there are no 3s in the vault, so it can't get it from anywhere. That's a 3. Okay, so this is a 1 or a 2. I want to say that digit is not in the vault. So I think that must be the same as that digit, but I'm not totally sure that's correct. That's not a 3 anymore. Oh, that's not a 3 anymore. Because there's definitely a 3 in this vault, and that's definitely orthogonally next to this vault. Now I've got a 2, 4 pair, so this is a 3. Which means that's not a 3. That's not a 3. So now this is down to 2 regions, which actually is of no surprise to me. I don't think it would have been very easy to get 3 regions touching this. But it now is a 2, 4 pair here with a 3. This cell is definitely grey, because grey has to come out. Okay, orange. How is orange growing? Do we know more about orange? Orange already has a 9 and... actually, hang on. I might have made a mistake here. Orange already has an 8 and a 9 in it. Remember, orange can't come into any of those cells. Oh, so orange is forced. That's really clever. Oh, goodness me. That would have been a simpler way to think about the world. That really would have been a simpler way to think about the world. Right. So this is the question. Because orange cannot... These 4 cells are all different colours than orange. How does orange... Oh, no, hang on. Could orange take that? Right. Okay, this is really important. This is really important. Yes, we know that there is a digit that's a 1 or a 2 that is missing from the vault. And we know that because this digit cannot appear in the vault, and it's a 1 or a 2. Now, how does orange get that digit into its region? Well, the only cells available to orange are digits in the region here. It can't come through this 9 and 8. It's already got a 9 and an 8 in it. So it can't get the 1s and the 2s down here. So it could come to those cells, but we know that they don't have that digit in it, or it gets that cell itself. So that's orange. And if that's orange, that's now purple. So now okay, is that somehow... I know this isn't orange. I'm trying to work out whether I know whether that's orange or not. I don't know. Or maybe now do I know that this isn't grey? I'm not sure. If that's grey now, that's grey, that's grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purple could come and take these cells, couldn't it? And that would finish purple off, so then grey could nip down here. I don't know. Again, it's one of these things where I think it's unlikely, but I don't feel like I can necessarily disprove it. So, orange definitely takes this cell, which is great. This is definitely some other colour, which has got to come up here. I know that there are exactly two. Here's something. Purple comes up here, doesn't it? I think I had that in before. That's 4, that's 8, so purple comes up here. That's the two regions that visit this little region, this funny vault here. So we've now done that, which forces grey up, which forces blue up. Now, do we know the size of green? This bottom, I'd love to know the colours in this bottom region. This is the whole key to this, I think. Because once we know what colours these are, all of this stuff radiating out of the bottom left will have much more of a clue about how it works. Okay. So this digit is the digit that's in this vault, because it's in one of those cells. No, I've got a better way of thinking about this. I apologise if I've annoyed you all with this, but I've just had a sensible thought. And the sensible thought is this. I know that there are 7 regions that touch this vault, and I know that blue doesn't, and I know that green doesn't, so I know purple does. And if purple touches this vault, that can't be grey, because if that's grey, in order to get purple to touch the vault, purple would have to cut through grey to do that. So that is not grey, and if that's not grey, I worked out those two weren't grey, so that's grey, and if that's grey, the only way of getting to purple to touch the vault is there. Oh, that's so much simpler than I made it. Okay, well anyway, that's good. That's good. So now, this is lovely. Oh my goodness. So now, how does grey connect? Well, I've already got 6 cells in grey, and the only way of connecting those together in a 9-cell region is with a bridge there, which means that's purple. And all of a sudden, we've got this working. Now, I've got 8 cells in purple, so that's purple. I've cut red off. I've cut orange off. Oh no. Please work. Please work. Oh dear, dear, dear. This is getting awfully cramped. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it must come to that cell then. And that cell we know is the same as that cell. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This cell cannot be red, so must be yellow, because these two are in a... We know that there's a 2 in this vault, which means it's visited by 2 regions. So now red must grow there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is still working. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, this is just working. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. That's 7 cells of orange. Now orange can't take those cells from the logic we did earlier, so those 2 have got to be orange, completing orange. And this is all done. This is seriously clever stuff. This is really, really seriously clever stuff. So now, well, now yellow needs to grow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It works. It works. Yellow's just got enough room to be hidden in the bottom corner. Okay, so now green's got to grow to there. We can start putting in some lines at the top. We know our grey's finished. I counted that to 9. Purple's finished. Okay, so now how many regions have I actually done? I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I've got 2 more regions starting over here, because these have to be different regions. So can this connect to blue? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it can't. Right, so I've now got all the regions started here. These 2 regions have to come out. Let's make that purple and that yellow maybe. And because this can't connect to this, all of these regions have to be distinct. So these are the last 4 regions in the grid. Now, that must beg the question of what that cell is. That must be yellow. It cannot be reached. If this was purple, yellow couldn't reach size 9 without purple being about size 12 or something. So that's got to be yellow. That's got to be green by that logic, because it can't be blue. Again, it would get cut off. And okay, what does that mean? Oh, I've got a 1, 2 pair here. Looking at that cell, that's a 4. Does that do anything to the world? No. No, I don't think it does. Oh, look, I've got a 1, 2 pair in purple, so that's a 4. So that's a 2. Right, and this matters because now I've got a 4 touching this vault. Therefore, this vault can't have a 4 in it, and that's a 5. So that's a 1 or a 2. I've got a 1, 2 pair now in... I've got a 1, 2 pair in red. Oh, yes, okay, and I can do the law of leftovers. Where does this red digit go in yellow? Well, it can't go in those cells, so it goes there. Now I've got a 1, 2 pair in column 1, a 1, 2 pair in row 8. Right. So these 2 digits are now the same. Okay, and what does this mean? I have not got a Scooby-Doo. I've got a 5 is there. Look, that's ruling itself out of this cell because purple has already got a 5 in it. This can't be a 5. Oh yes, I'm going to get rid of those pencil marks. I think we got those pencil marks earlier because I was saying there was a 5 in the vault in row 6, and obviously all of this has got split up now into different regions, so we've got to be a bit careful with this. Now, okay, let's do law of leftovers on red. Red needs to have this digit in it. Where's it going? Well, it can't go in those cells, and it's not a 1 or a 2, so that square has got to be a 6 or a 7. which is not useful. These two digits are the same. It's actually quite getting a little bit hard for me to see the volts as well, which is not helping. Oh, yeah, okay. That cell, there's a 5 in the volt. I'm sure I worked that out earlier. There's definitely a 5 in the volt. So if there's a 5 in the volt, that can't be a 5 because it's touching the volt. So that's down to 3, 8 or 9, all of which are, I think, valid options. I'm not sure what the efficient way of doing this is now. Whether it would be better to focus on region building at the top, or whether it's better to focus on sort of this weird volt logic at the bottom. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, let's try and do some more sudoku perhaps. Here is a funny point. Where does that digit go in orange? Well, it can't go there and it can't go in any of those, so it goes there, and that's a 6 or a 7. I don't think that does anything. I thought I was about to get quite excited about that. Okay, let's delete those cells and take another stare at the grid. Oh, I tell you what it might be sensible to do, and that's to focus now on the cells that are touching this enormous volt, because now we know approximately what digits are in the volt. We know that the volt it's got a 1 or a 2 in it. It's got a 4, a 5, a 6 and a 7 in it. And that's all it's got in it. Yes, okay. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to pencil mark 1s, 2s, 4s, 5s, 6s and 7s into the volt. Mark would be so happy with me doing this. There's a 5, 6, 7 triple here. No, I'm not massively keen on this actually. This is not looking terribly beautiful, is it? Let's just see if we can get some eliminations done though. 5 has to come out of all of those cells by sudoku. Can we do better than that? Oh, come on. This is awful. If I can't do better than this. Oh. This is the digit that's not in the volt. So this digit and this digit are the same. So I need to somehow mark that. Those are the same. So whatever this isn't is in one of those 3 cells in row 7. And therefore this cell sees both colours. It sees that 1, 2 and whatever this is. So that cell is 5, 6 or 7, which gives me a 5, 6, 7 triple in column 9. I know those 2 digits are the same as well. I don't really know how to sort of try and record this stuff. And yes, okay, and that digit is the same as that digit. So those 3 digits are the same. This digit can't be a 2 because it sees 2 in it. Oh, it can't be a 5 either. Right, that digit can't be 2 or 5 because it sees those in purple. So I've now got a 6, 7 pair in purple. So what are the other digits then? The other digits are 3. Where does 3 go in purple? Ah, okay, that's a 3. So this square is an 8 or a 9. I've got a 6, 7 pair here. So this is a 5. I've not got a clue what that does. That square now is a 1 or a 2 in grey. um, which is very interesting. I've got a 6, 7. I've got a 1. Okay, now let's have a look at this row. I've got a 1, 2, and a 6, 7 pair. So that's got to be an 8 or a 9. I've got... What else have I got? I don't know. I've got a 1, 2 pair here as well, actually. So that I can get rid of 1 and 2 from these two cells. So these are 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s. I've got a 1 up here. I think I've already used that. I've got a 1, 2 pair there, so that cell gets restricted. Okay. Wow. This is not... Well, it's not rolling over and letting us tickle its tummy, is it? That cell is 4, 5, 6, or 7 by sudoku. Which is probably important in some way, but I can't see how. How do we make more progress? We might have to go full ham on colouring things like 1s and 2s and trying to work out what's going on in the world. I have a feeling I can get rid of a lot more. So in orange, no, maybe I can't. I'm not sure actually. I've got a 6, 7 pair in this column. Is there more law of leftovers stuff we can do? Let's check that out. We could say that... What's this digit? That digit is, in theory, 5, 6. It's not 6, it's these 6. 5, 7, 8, or 9. That's disappointing. That's really disappointing. Is it seeing anything volt related? No. Okay, can we do more stuff with volts? Can we do... We've got a 2, 3, 4 triple in this one. So everything orthogonally connected with this volt cannot be 2, 3, or 4. So that cell... Actually, I'm not sure if that's the place to look, to be honest. I can see it can't be 6 as well, but it's not. I don't think it's quite good enough, is it? What else could it be? This one has 5s and 3s in it. So I'm not allowed to put 3s and 5s into... Well, so that's telling me this cell can't be a 3, but I already knew this can't be a 3. Where does 3 go in yellow at the bottom? The answer to that is... Ooh, no, okay, one of 2 places. Nearly, that was nearly a good thought. Okay, wow. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. How do we make more progress here? Oh, the other thing I was thinking of doing, I've just remembered, which was to look at the cells touching the massive volt to see whether or not I could reduce their options now. So let's have a look at... Well, this cell is probably the most interesting because this can be neither 1 nor 2. It can't be 3, and we know because it's touching the volt, it can't be 4, 5, 6, or 7. That's 8 or 9. Ooh, so I've got an 8, 9 pair in this column. Good grief. So there's a 4, 5, 7 at the top of the column. 8, 9. Oh, if I knew this wasn't a 3, then I would be... I'd know that was a 3, and I'd know all sorts of things about the world. Wow, okay. But I don't think... There might be some other magic we can do there, but it's not immediately obvious to me what it is. Oh, I know what I can do. Where does 2 go in grey? There's a 2 there. Yes, yes, that's a 2. Now, is that going to propagate? Yes. So this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 1. So now I know that the digit that is not in the vault is a 1 because it's this digit. So we know that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1 by Sudoku. So we can get rid of 1 and 2 from this square. And we know that there's no 1 in the vault, so that can't be a 1. Oh, I was about to ask where 2 went in this row, but it's still got 2 options, I think. Okay, but that did feel like it was important, so I do feel like I feel better about the world all of a sudden. Oh, how do I do this 1 and 2 down here? Ah, yes, I can do that. 1, 2. So I have got quite a few 1s in the grid now. 1, 2, 3. I've got 7, have I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Where are the others? Where's 1 in grey? Not there, not there, not there. So it's there. That's an 8th one. So now, 1, 2, 3. Let me just double. I've got 8 1s in the grid. I haven't put a 1 in column 9. It's got to go there. I've got all the 1s. Alright, let's do 2s. Oh, much, much, much less information about 2s. I've got 5 in the grid. So there's whole stripes of 2s at the top, which might be important. Okay, sorry, I'm not seeing anything immediately clever I can do there. Let me think. Let me think. This is still mighty tricky. It's like a really complicated irregular Sudoku because it's got these funny rules. What's this digit? I should check this one out because this is touching this funny vault. So this cell can't be 1, 2, 3. It can't be 4, 5, 6 or 7, 8. Oh, it's a 9. It's a naked single. I think that's a naked single 9 because it sees 8. I'm just going to double check. It sees the vault, the big vault. And the big vault's definitely got 4, 5, 6 and 7 in it. And it can't be 1, 2 or 3. And it can't be 8, so that's a 9. That must do something. Well, okay, what does that do for these 2 digits? That makes those 2 digits the 3, 4 pair. It's quite interesting. If we ask where 9 goes in grey now, the answer to that is in one of those 2 cells. Now those 2 cells see this cell, so that's got to be 8. Which means that cell's now become a 9, which means that's not a 9. And now the 9 in this row has to be here by weirdness. So that's not a 9 down there. This is now an 8. I thought these 8s and 9s would go a bit further. But maybe that was just wishful thinking. Yeah, I'm not sure. 6s and 7s are still not resolved. 5, 7 here, so there's definitely a 6 in one of those 2 squares. Let's... Ooh, okay, that's weird. Where do 3 and 9 go in this column? 3 can't go there. It doesn't seem to be able to go in any of those, so it's in one of the top 2 cells. And I think the same logic applies to 9. I can't see 9s down there. So that at the top is a 3-9 pair. Which might be important. Don't know. Okay, I don't know what to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I've got to build these regions a bit further. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's got to be green, doesn't it? Because if that's blue, oh, maybe it doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then blue does a ring around. No, okay, I'm wrong. Oh no, blue can't take. Ah, here we go. Blue can't take 1. It's already got a 1 in it. So that cell can't possibly be pink. It's too far away. So that's blue. And that's penned green in. Okay, so this is where we make more progress. We finish green off, which has been available for a while. I just didn't focus on that. Oh, we've got to put a 1. Yes, okay. This 1 needs to find a region it can join, and it can now only join pink. So those two must be pink. Which is probably interesting. Where, oh yeah, this is nice. Okay, so now where does 2 go in green? It's only got 1 place to go. And this square must appear in this column somewhere. And so this cell has got to be a 6, 7 or a 9 by that logic, by sort of law of leftover logic. Now, what have we got in the bottom row? Ah, yes. Now I can ask where 3 goes in the bottom row. It can't go there anymore, so that's become a 3. How many 3s have we got in the grid? We have got 6. We need more. More 3s. There's 1 up there, 1 up there, and 1 over there somewhere. Okay, so that's not helpful. Bobbins. What a puzzle though, eh? What a puzzle this is. Not easy. This is going to be an absolute movie length edition, and I'm still not sure I can solve it. I think if I sit here long enough I'll be able to solve it now though. I'm fairly hopeful about that. Yellow. Ooh, here's an interesting point. Oh, cool. Yellow's forced. Yellow's got 3 and 9 in it, so it can't take those squares. So how does yellow get to a count of 9? It has to take those cells. Oh, that's beautiful. That is quite beautiful. So those are yellow. Yellow can only have a 2 in that position now. How many 2s have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can probably do some 2s now. There's no 2 in that cell. Orange needs a 2. It's got to be here. So that's 8 2s. The 2 we're missing is in this column. It's got to go there. Oh, and that's got to be pink. Look, pink hasn't got a, or purple hasn't got a 2 in it. So now blue has to come out through this little gap because it's only, it would be too small otherwise. So that cell's now blue because if that can't be pink. Pink would be too large. So that cell's blue. Do I know whether that one's blue or purple? Probably, but oh, that's a 7, just seen by Sudoku. So that's a 6 and that's a 5. That must do something. Well, I'll tell you one thing it does, is it fills in these digits. So they've got to be 4, 5. Oh, hang on, what have they got to be? They're not 7. Where does 7 go in this row? 7's got to go here, so that's not 7, and that's not 7. And now these digits have got to be 4, 5, and 8. I can't see if that's resolved or not. That's not 8, that's not 5. That one seems to have all the options in the world. What about these digits? They've got to be 4, 6, and 8. So that one, which I still want to allocate to either blue or purple, still doesn't seem to want to tell me what it is. Good grief. This is amazing. It's still resisting. It's probably me being bad at irregular Sudoku, but it's still fairly tricky. 5, 7 and 8 into these squares, which looks a little bit restricted. That's not 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's a small point. It's not possible that both of these cells are purple because one of these is a 3. So which one of these is blue? Or which both of them are blue? Actually, both of them could be blue. But it's definitely not possible for this one to be blue. And this one to be purple. Because once you connect the blues up, you will never be able to make this purple. So I think that that means that that cell must always be blue, which means that cell must always be blue. So that cell's no longer a 5. And this is all going to be about some weird digit that we've got to get into this, into one of these regions that's probably only available in one place. Now, what digit could that be? I don't know. 5, 7, 8. There's definitely a 5 in that domino, so that's not a 5. So maybe we've got to... That square is... See, it's no good. That's 4, 6, 7 or 8 by Sudoku, and those things are all fine. 3, I was thinking I could do 3 in this row. I can't. 5 in this row. Where's that going? That's a better question. 5 can't be in those cells. Doesn't seem to be able to be in any of the others. So 5 must go there. And that in turn places 3 in this row, which must now be here. So that's a 4. That's not 4. That's not 4. And now we can possibly pencil mark 3s, 6s and 9s. We can pencil mark them. It won't tell us what they are. I don't believe it. Okay. No. Come on, Simon. I tell you something. I've now got 8 cells of blue. So I've only got to get one more blue cell. Which is possibly interesting. I've got information overload now. I'm scanning all the same things I've scanned before, and I don't feel I'm picking up anything clever from anything I'm doing. Come on, man, think. Use your brain. 6, 7 here, so we've got to put 4 and 5 in these cells. Is it? It could be something horrible, like to do with the volts, which I can't see anymore. Yeah, it could be something like there's no 1, 3 or 5. Yeah, I mean, look, there's no 1, 3 or 5 touching that, so that can't be 5. So, okay, so where does 5 go in row 8? That's so bizarre. It's got to go here. Oh, good grief. It's not this, is it? It could be. So that's giving me a 4. That's giving me digits. I don't believe it. That's such a mean thing to miss. So that's now a 7. That's a 5. That's a 4. Good grief. I can't repeat 4 in blue. So that's become orange. And I've got a 5. I've got a 5 in purple, so that's blue, and that's purple, and that's done. We've done it. We've divided the grid up. This definitely deserves 5 stars for difficulty. It is very, very clever, but very, very tricky. Now I'm really excited because we should be able to finish it now, I think. That felt like a little epiphany, didn't it? There's a 3 here, so this is 9. That's 3. That's 3, therefore. We get a 6, 9 pair here. So this needs to be 5, 7 or 8. So it's 7 or 8. This is 7 or 8 because it can't be 9. So that means that this is 9, which means that this is 9 and this is 6, which means that that's 6. It means that this is 7. That's in yellow. So now this digit's 4. There's a 7, 8 pair looking at the 9 and the 6. Gosh, if it goes wrong now, I'm going to weep. 7 and 7 go into there using our earlier logic. This is now an 8. So this is a 9. This is an 8. Come on. There's a 7 here, so that's become a 6. It's nearly done, but it's not done yet. Right, 5 has to be in one of those two cells in the first row. So this is a 5. Right, okay, let's just take stock on what are these two digits? 6 and 8. No. No. Okay, 7 there. Right, so that's 7, that's 8, that's 8, that's 6. That's 6, that's 4, that's 4. Yeah, it's worked, hasn't it? It does. I'm not seeing any immediate clashes. Come on. Yes. Yes. What a puzzle that is. That is really, really clever. I mean, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing from the Cogito. There's so much cool stuff. I mean, the magic, I think, is all to do with this massive cage, and slowly the ideas that you can force certain digits out of it because of the region geometry, and then certain digits into it using the region geometry, and then finally I think that, well, the epiphany I had was thinking that these cells all had to be different regions. And that was really powerful. Although I could, I think, have been a bit cleverer about realizing the implications of that for purple. Because once purple has to go in there, I think it was forced to be in that cell. And instead I got hung up on whether grey could go in this cell, which obviously it couldn't in the end because purple needed to find a home in the big region. So I think if you were clever, and no doubt some of you will have been in your souls, you'll have got that done a bit quicker than me. The final bit of all of the irregular sudoku combined with volt logic I found very difficult. Again, I'm going to be interested in the comments on this one to see how quickly some of you managed to fathom your way through it. And yeah, I think, hopefully some of you at least will agree that that was a fairly difficult puzzle. But I loved it. I hope that came across. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.